Okay, let's dive into the story of Will Hunting. This is a journey about a guy with this incredible, staggering genius, but it's all locked in a battle with the deep, really invisible wounds of his past. So the whole story really kicks off with this one simple but super powerful question. It's designed to make you think, to challenge everything you assume about intelligence. It's not just about what genius is, but maybe more importantly, where you can find it. You see, Will is basically living two completely different lives. On one hand, he's this tough kid from Southie, right? He works construction, gets into fights, hangs with his buddies. But then, in the shadows, another Will comes out. This is the guy who's a flat-out mathematical prodigy, secretly solving these insane problems that have the best minds at MIT totally stumped. This brings us to Professor Gerald Lambeau. Now, this guy is a big deal, a Fields Medal winner, and he makes this absolutely stunning discovery. The genius solving his, unsolvable problems. It's not some star student. It's not a rival professor. No way. It's the janitor, the guy who cleans the blackboards. So after Will solves that first problem, Lambeau is just stunned. He decides to up the ante. He puts an even harder problem on the board, one that took him and his team years to crack. He's basically setting a trap. And sure enough, he catches Will red-handed, solving it right there on the chalkboard before Will gets spooked and bolts. And just like that, the cat's out of the bag. But here's the thing. All that brain power can't protect him from his own past. He gets into a street fight with some guy who used to bully him, and bam, he's in court. And he's got a long rap sheet, so the judge is, he's had enough. He's ready to throw the book at him. All of a sudden, Will's entire future is about to just vanish. Professor Lambeau, though, he sees this crisis as an opportunity. He steps in, he intervenes, he offers Will a way out of prison. But, and this is a big but, it comes with some very strict, non-negotiable conditions. It's a lifeline for sure, but it's one that's going to force Will to face the exact things he spent his whole life running away from. And here's the deal Lambeau makes. Will has to do two things. First, he's got to meet with Lambeau every week for advanced math, and second, he has to see a therapist. So this is the crucial point, right? He has to confront both his incredible intellect and his buried emotions, two things he has guarded like a fortress his entire life. He's being forced to grow his mind, but also, for the very first time, to actually face his demons. So how does Will handle therapy? Well, he treats it like a total game. He uses that genius intellect of his to just surgically take apart and humiliate one therapist after another. He drives away 5 of them. Lambeau's running out of options, so he turns to his old college roommate, Sean Maguire. And Sean's different. He's a psychologist, yeah, but he also grew up in Southie, just like Will. The hope is that maybe, just maybe, that shared background can finally break through. Right from the get-go, their first session is a total battle of wills. Will goes on the attack immediately, using his intelligence like a weapon. He looks at this painting in Sean's office and just starts dissecting Sean's entire life, his pain, his loss. He's trying to get a reaction, trying to provoke him. And then he crosses a line, a big one. And Sean doesn't play his game. He reacts with this raw, real, emotional power. And this is the first time anyone has ever gotten past Will's intellectual shield with something that isn't just more intellect. It's pure, unfiltered emotion. For the first time, Will is completely silenced. You can see it on his face. He's finally met his match. Their next meeting is different. They're by a lake, and Sean just completely turns the tables. He explains to Will the huge difference between knowing something from a book and actually living it. He calls Will out not on his intelligence, but on his arrogance, showing him that it's all just a big shield to hide his fear. And in that moment, you can feel it. Something shifts. For the very first time, Will doesn't have a clever comeback. He doesn't say a word. He just listens. The whole session. That silence says more than anything he could have argued. The war of wits is over, and this quiet moment, that's the beginning of trust. It's the real start of his healing. Okay, so while all this intense therapy stuff is going on, something else happens. Will meets Skylar. She's this amazing, brilliant, charming student at Harvard. And for the first time in his life, he actually lets himself be vulnerable with someone. But man, that vulnerability, it absolutely terrifies him. Will is he's petrified that Skylar's going to find out he's not perfect, that when she sees the real him, the broken parts, she'll run. But Sean drops this piece of wisdom on him, explaining that, you know what? You're not perfect. She's not perfect. The real question is whether you're perfect for each other.
He tells him that the good stuff, that's all found in those little imperfections.
And then Skylar makes a huge move. She asks him to come with her to California when she starts med school at Stanford. And this just forces Will to face his absolute deepest fear, head on, the fear of being abandoned. This is real commitment we're talking about, and he completely panics.
So what does he do? Faced with this real, genuine intimacy, he hits the self-destruct button. He deploys his oldest, most powerful defense mechanism, self-sabotage. He tells her he's an orphan, tells her about his past, and then he pushes her away with a lie. He tells her he doesn't love her. He's doing what he's always done. Leave them before they can leave you.
So all of this, it's all building to this huge emotional climax, and it's a showdown between the two father figures in Will's life, right? You've got Professor Lambeau and you've got Sean Maguire, and they finally have this massive clash over what Will's future should be. And their argument just perfectly lays out the central conflict of the whole movie. On one side, you have Lambeau, who thinks Will owes it to the world to use his gift. On the other, you have Sean, who believes Will owes it to himself to heal and figure out what he actually wants. It's the head versus the heart, really. But just when Will is pushing everyone away, the biggest reality check comes from the last person you'd expect, his best friend, Chuckie. And Chuckie lays it on the line. He tells Will that the best part of his day is the hope that one day he'll show up to Will's door and he'll be gone. That staying here and wasting his potential would be an insult to all his friends. It's just this incredible act of love, pushing your best friend to leave you for a better life. This all leads to their final incredible therapy session. Sean has Will's file, and he's reading about the abuse Will suffered as a kid. And he just looks at him and says that one simple phrase over and over again. It's not your fault. He just keeps repeating it. It's not your fault. Until finally, something inside Will just breaks. All those defenses crumble, and he finally grieves for that little boy who went through so much.
And with that breakthrough, he's finally free. I mean, truly free from the weight of his past. And now he can actually make a choice for himself. A choice that's not driven by fear, and it's not driven by what anyone else wants for him.
He even takes one of the high-paying corporate jobs Lambeau set up. But then, for his 21st birthday, his friends, they give him a car they rebuild for him. And this thing, it's so much more than just a car. It's freedom. It's a message from the only family he's ever really had, basically telling him, get out of here. Go find your life. So what does he do? Does he go to that fancy new job? Nope. He leaves a note for Sean, and it says it all. He gets in that car and he starts driving. Driving to California, driving to find Skylar. He's choosing love. He's choosing his own path, not the one everyone else had mapped out for him. Remember what Chuckie said about that winning lottery ticket? Well, he's finally cashing it in. And in the end, this whole journey kind of leaves you with a big question, right? What is the true measure of a genius? Maybe it's not about solving impossible math problems on a chalkboard. Maybe true genius is about having the courage to solve the impossible problems inside your own heart, to finally face your past, to let yourself trust someone, and to choose a future that's truly your own.